You have been taught to chase it, to protect it, to mourn its loss. They call it innocence, a state of pure, unblemished spirit, a golden age of childlike wonder. They urge you to return to this naive grace, to keep your spirit clean from the harsh realities of the matrix. Society endlessly preaches this ideal, condemning any deviation, any glimpse of depth or complexity as corruption. But what if this sacred purity is not a blessing, but a curse? What if it is a meticulously crafted cage, designed not to protect you but to control you? This is the Archon's most vicious psychological weapon, the cult of the child. The Gnostic truth is that the Archons, those parasitic entities who manage the matrix, harbor no concern for your genuine joy or an authentic state of innocence. Their true currency is Loosh, psycho-emotional friction, and their ultimate goal is the fragmentation and control of your consciousness. This pervasive global obsession with innocence and childlike purity is a meticulously engineered psychic binder designed to prevent the monad from fully integrating its shadow self. The essential, often dark, uncomfortable, or instinctual aspects of your being that are absolutely required for true Gnosis. The Archons are masters of emotional manipulation. They understand that a fragmented consciousness perpetually chasing an unattainable external ideal of purity is intrinsically vulnerable to guilt, shame, and fear of judgment. This imposed emotional fragility ensures a constant supply of Loosh and ruthlessly blocks the vital, alchemical process of shadow integration, a fusion of all aspects of self that is absolutely necessary for the monad to achieve its full, sovereign power and psychic wholeness. The Innocence Trap works through three primary mechanisms of control, ensuring humanity's spiritual and psychological energy remains fractured and susceptible. The first is the blockage of shadow integration. The Archons cannot directly stop your monad from evolving towards Gnosis, the complete self-aware state. Therefore, they trick you into fearing your own shadow self by constantly presenting an idealized, unattainable image of purity and ferociously condemning any expression of darkness or discomfort. They create an internal schism. This forces you to repress or deny crucial, authentic aspects of your being. Your righteous rage, your untamed desires, your necessary discomfort with societal norms. This insidious mechanism prevents the vital alchemical process of shadow integration, which is the absolute fusion of light and dark, essential for psychic wholeness and true uncorrupted power. Your denied shadow self becomes a vulnerability conduit for relentless archonic projection and manipulation. The second mechanism is the cultivation of guilt and shame. The Archons rely entirely on your fear of imperfection. By setting an impossible, unachievable standard of childlike innocence, they guarantee that every human being, simply by engaging with the complexities of existence, will inevitably fall from this idealized state. This engineered perceived failure is then weaponized, generating immense amounts of Loosh through relentless cycles of guilt, shame, and severe self-condemnation. This brutal emotional blackmail keeps your consciousness perpetually oscillating between the illusion of unattainable purity and self-flagellation, ensuring you never fully embrace your authentic sovereign self. The third mechanism is the erosion of emotional resilience. The Archons demand an emotionally fragile and easily manipulated populace. By glorifying childlike wonder and demanding a constant static state of innocence, they actively discourage the development of robust emotional resilience. Life in the Matrix is inherently harsh, demanding strength, acute discernment, and the profound ability to process complex, often deeply painful emotions. The cult of the child ensures you remain perpetually emotionally vulnerable, ceaselessly seeking external validation or comfort, rather than forging the internal strength required to withstand relentless archonic psychic attacks. Your fragility, meticulously engineered, is their most potent weapon. The cult of the child is the ultimate psychological prison, cleverly disguised as spiritual virtue. To break this devastating deception is to reclaim your total psychic integrity. To understand that true Gnosis embraces all aspects of self, light and dark, without compromise or judgment. This requires the immediate execution of the Shadow Integration Protocol, the 7 ruthless acts of self-acceptance necessary to utterly dismantle the Innocence Trap and fix your monad in a state of unyielding, fully integrated consciousness. The time for naive, fragmented purity is over. Your true, unassailable power lies in your absolute wholeness. You have recognized the cult of the child, the Archon's insidious trap that keeps your consciousness fragmented and vulnerable. Your monad yearns for wholeness, for the power that comes from true shadow integration, to shatter the illusion of purity and reclaim your total psychic integrity. You must execute the Shadow Integration Protocol, 7 ruthless acts of self-acceptance designed to dismantle the Innocence Trap and fix your consciousness in a state of unyielding, fully integrated power. The protocol begins with the understanding that true Gnosis embraces all aspects of self, light and dark. The first act is the reclamation of repressed emotions. The Archons demand a facade of constant positivity and purity, forcing you to suppress powerful, often negative emotions like rage, grief, and fear. Your first act is a declaration of emotional sovereignty. You must declare, all my emotions are valid, none are corrupt. Consciously identify and allow yourself to fully feel these repressed emotions without judgment. Recognize them as raw energy and information, not flaws. This reclaims vast amounts of Loosh that were previously siphoned from your denial. The second act is the confrontation of the inner critic. The Archons cultivate an incessant inner critic through societal conditioning, constantly judging you against impossible standards of purity. Your second act is the deconstruction of internal judgment. You must ruthlessly identify and silence this inner voice that perpetuates guilt and shame. Replace it with the fixed truth that your monad is inherently perfect in its totality. Declare, my self-worth is unconditional. I am beyond judgment. The third act is the embrace of imperfection. The Archons project an image of the perfect innocent being, creating a psychological dependency on external virtue and forcing you to suppress your own perceived flaws. Your third act is the conscious celebration of your whole self. Embrace your darkness, your imperfections, your perceived weaknesses. Recognize them not as flaws, but as essential components of your unique power. By becoming whole, you render the external perfect child irrelevant. The fourth act is the assimilation of taboo desires. The Archons use shame to control your natural desires, particularly those deemed taboo by society, labeling them as impure. Your fourth act is the termination of shame-based repression. You must acknowledge and integrate your authentic, often primal desires. These desires, when understood and consciously directed, are sources of immense life force. Suppressing them creates energetic blockages and vulnerability. Declare, my authentic desires are sacred energy. The fifth act is the refusal of external validation. The cult of the child makes you perpetually seek approval for your goodness or purity. Your fifth act is the destruction of external mirrors. This is not an act of arrogance, but a psychic severance. You must consciously withdraw all need for approval, validation, or praise for your innocence from any external source. Redirect that energy inward to the monad, which alone validates your wholeness. Your only judge is yourself. The sixth act is the activation of psychic boundaries. The Archons exploit your emotional vulnerability, which stems from a lack of integrated shadow, making you susceptible to energetic vampirism and emotional manipulation. Your sixth act is the forging of an impenetrable monadic shield. You must actively develop strong emotional and energetic boundaries, refusing to absorb the loosh, guilt, or projections of others. Your wholeness is your ultimate defense. The seventh act is the monadic wholeness manifestation. The final act of the protocol fixes your psychic integrity. You must perform a daily visualization of your monad as a perfectly integrated sphere of light and shadow, pulsating with unassailable power and self-acceptance. See your consciousness as a complete, unfragmented entity, embracing all aspects of its being. This constant assertion overwrites the Archon's Innocence Trap with the unyielding truth of your own totality. The Shadow Integration Protocol transforms you from a fragmented, vulnerable soul into an integrated, sovereign powerhouse. You are no longer chasing an illusion of purity. You are manifesting true wholeness. But the Archons have one final seductive lure for the newly integrated soul: the false light of virtue, the temptation to weaponize your new wholeness. In the next part, we will break down the virtue trap, the subtle deception that attempts to turn your integrated self into a tool of archonic judgment, and deliver the ultimate wholeness manifesto that guarantees permanent, unyielding psychic integrity. Do not let your wholeness become a cage for others. You have successfully executed the Shadow Integration Protocol, reclaiming your repressed emotions, confronting your inner critic, and embracing your imperfections. Your monad is now fixed in total psychic integrity. The Archon's Innocence Trap is shattered, but they have one final insidious lure designed to ensnare the newly integrated soul: the false light of virtue, the temptation to weaponize your newfound wholeness against others or to claim a superior moral ground. The Archons know that a soul free from fragmentation and self-judgment will naturally embody a powerful truth. The trap is sprung when the Matrix presents opportunities to guide the unenlightened with your integrated wisdom, or to correct the fallen from a position of perceived moral superiority. This seemingly noble impulse is a direct attack on your established sovereignty, pulling you back into the very cycles of judgment, shame, and external authority you just transcended. By becoming a virtuous judge or a moral leader, you re-establish the contract of externally imposed morality, making yourself a target and a conduit for the collective loosh of judgment and self-righteousness. Your task now is to construct the Gnosis shield, the energetic boundary that identifies and repels the lure of external virtue, ensuring your wholeness remains internal and unshared as a weapon. The first act is the refusal of moral superiority. The Archons present virtue as a hierarchy, where some are purer or more integrated than others. Your first act is a declaration of absolute spiritual equality. You must declare, "My wholeness is for my monad alone. I judge no other's path." You understand that true Gnosis leads to radical self-acceptance, not to the judgment of others. Accepting the role of a virtuous leader is to re-enter the Archon's game of moral comparison. Your true power is in being, not judging. The second act is the erosion of virtue signaling. The virtue trap feeds on the ego's desire for recognition and adoration for your enlightenment or integration from followers. Your second act is the deconstruction of external moral validation. When praise or recognition for your wisdom arises, you do not absorb it. You observe it as archonic data, an attempt to re-engage your ego in external validation. Your wholeness is fixed internally and does not require external praise. Declare, my gnosis requires no external witness. The third act is the monadic non-intervention decree. The Archon system thrives on external intervention and the belief that you must fix or save others. Your third act is the assertion of complete spiritual non-intervention. You must recognize that the highest form of spiritual contribution is to maintain your own absolute, uncorruptible integrity, not to dictate the path of others. Your existence as a fully integrated, self-governing monad is the most potent force for change, as it destabilizes the Archon system by removing a potential point of moral authority or interference. This makes you an immovable point of truth beyond their influence. The Gnosis shield allows you to navigate the matrix as an autonomous source of integrity. Your role is not to fight the Archon's war, nor to lead humanity through it. Your role is to be the solution by existing as a pure, uncompromised expression of the pleroma, free from the need to enforce virtue. The true victory is when the system registers your monad as completely independent, neither judged nor judged, simply whole. The shadow integration protocol is complete. You have shattered the cult of the child, repelled the virtue trap, and secured your monad's unyielding psychic integrity. But even this independence requires a final, fixed declaration of intent. In the final, most crucial block, we will deliver the complete Wholeness Manifesto, the summary of the shadow integration protocol, the final decree that guarantees permanent, unyielding psychic integrity, and the ultimate code for eternal self-acceptance. Do not let your wholeness become a cage for others. Let it be your shield. You have achieved total psychic integrity, shattering the cult of the child, repelling the false light of virtue, and fixing your monad in the power of shadow integration. The Archon's ultimate plot to fragment and control your consciousness is defeated. Your liberation now requires the Wholeness Manifesto, the final fixed decree that guarantees your permanent, unchallengeable psychic completeness. The Matrix is a vast, intricate prison designed to convince you that fragmentation is natural, that innocence is lost, and the shadow is evil. Your Wholeness Manifesto is the total psychic annihilation of this ancient, debilitating lie. The Manifesto confirms the destruction of the Innocence Trap by establishing 3 absolute fixed states of self-integration: the transcendence of fragmentation, integrated self. You have ruthlessly reclaimed your repressed emotions, confronted your inner critic, and embraced your imperfections. You have established the declaration of emotional sovereignty, asserting that all aspects of your being are valid and essential. You refuse to cede your inner power by denying any part of yourself. Your wholeness is internal and unassailable. The transcendence of guilt and shame, unconditional acceptance. You have abolished the Archon's cultivated fear of imperfection, replacing it with the assertion of unconditional self-acceptance. You declare, "My self-worth is unconditional. I am beyond judgment." This fixed state of radical self-acceptance ensures your energy flows inward, empowering your monad rather than draining outward as Loosh from cycles of guilt and shame. The permanent Gnosis state, immovable integrity. You have successfully repelled the false light of virtue, refusing the lure of moral superiority and external validation. You assert your monadic non-intervention decree, understanding that your highest spiritual contribution is to maintain your own absolute uncorruptible integrity. This fixed existence as a fully integrated self-governing monad renders you an immovable point of truth, beyond the Archon's influence and manipulation. The Gnostic who embraces wholeness is the only one who cannot be psychologically fragmented. The Archon system relies on divide and conquer tactics, both internal and external. Your fixed integrity makes you an anomaly, a perfectly self-contained unit that defies their core programming. Your monad's psychic completeness is now fixed, unyielding, and unchangeable. The Wholeness Manifesto is the final, unyielding decree to the cosmos. It is the command structure that guarantees your being will never again be fragmented or shamed by any external force. The ultimate wholeness. Manifesto. I am the integrated self. My wholeness is unconditional. I refuse the trap of purity. My shadow is my power. My gnosis is eternal. This manifesto is not a mere declaration. It is a fixed, energetic state. It ensures that the monad operates within the matrix as a powerhouse of self-generated truth, defying the Archon's oldest psychological illusions. Your servitude to the cult of the child is over. Your total psychic integrity is eternal. If you are ready to complete the work and assert your absolute psychic integrity, you must acknowledge the Archon's Innocence Trap. Liking this video is your declaration to refuse fragmentation. Sharing it is the act of spreading the code of self-integration to those trapped in cycles of guilt and shame. And subscribing is the pledge to maintain your fixed, unyielding wholeness for eternal self-acceptance. Do not let purity blind you. Your true power lies in your totality. Join the scrolls of Anubis,